Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get ready to go here at Spanish Fork in the beautiful state of Utah. We're getting ready for the Old Iron Caddy Showdown, as we had a little bit of a hiccup getting started here tonight, but we are ready to bring the live action for you here. And we're going to start pulling these cars out onto the track. First up, we have Nathan Young in the 116, sponsored by 116 Graphic. Team Backwoods Derby team. Next up, we have Rylan Smith in the 69S, sponsored by the Backwoods Derby team and Smitty's Motorsports. Following him, you have Killjoy in the 794, sponsored by Mad Scientist Motors, Relics Garage, and Punisher Graphics. Next into the arena is Branton in the 007X, sponsored by MWP TSRM Discord server as well as GS Customs. Following him, we have Stevens in the 14S, sponsored by AB Custom Designs, Conspiracy Coffee, Curtis Backroad Arms. And another caddy pull into the track here. He's known as Parker Post, driving the P7, sponsored by the Backwoods Derby team and Post Promos. Gone Postal. Next up, we have Austin Faust in the 811, sponsored by the Backwoods Derby team and Smitty's Motorsports. And last but not least, we have Evil in the 20-2, sponsored by FAFO Incorporated and Mad Doggin Derby Products. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get the track closed in down there on the far side where these beautiful Cadillacs have pulled into the arena. We're going to get ready to make some junk here in Spanish Fork. As we're going to get ready for some green flag action here. We have 8 in this heat. We will be taking 4. Help me count them down from 5. There they go. Never mind. Green flag. As the 69S is getting good with it there with the 14. And the 116 is going to come down. That's Nathan Young. As we're looking to take 4 out of the heat here tonight. There was a good hit there on the far end of the 69S of Rylan Smith. As the 811 is going to come up and go nose to nose here. The 7094 of Killjoy, he's going to deliver a good little back bumper shot there on the 811. As the 69 delivers another good shot there on the 116 of Nathan Young. The P7 of Parker Post with that Arkansas tuck caddy and a little bit of chrome action going on with it. Looking to be part of the action here tonight. As the 69S is going to make another good contact there up on the far side of the track. Slow and steady here so far in Heat 1 as the 811 gives a good little shot there to the back quarter panel of the P7 of Parker Post. As the 116's looking for a shot, gets one there on Killjoy in the 794. As it looks like the 20-2 stalled her out there for a second. It's got her back up and going and looking for a shot on the far side. He won't give one, but he'll get one from the 811. As that was a good shot there. The 116 comes back down and says hello to the 14S. The 794 gives a good little wheel shot there to Rylan Smith in the 69S. We got him here on the far side as well on the close. There's a good little shot there from the 116 of Nathan Young, getting 2 cars with 1 on that one. And the 794 delivered a good little tapper there to the 811. ladies and gentlemen, all the action is brought to you by the MWP TSRM Discord server, as well as Tri-State Race Media Broadcasting and Announcing Services. We'll be taking 4 out of the heat here. We'll be having more heat action coming up after this, as well as a Consi and main event action. You're going to want to stay tuned. As now all of the cars will go down to the far side of the track. Beating and banging going on there, as it looked like Parker Post in the P7 delivered a good shot to the 14S of Stevens. And the 20-2 will eat up some of the back bumper there of the 811. The 811 driven by Austin Faust. And the 20-2 maybe stalled it again as he's stuck in the mud here. He'll take a good little nose shot there from the 116. As there's a big old bunch of them up there on the far side of the track into the concrete barriers. As the 794 will take a good little shot and another one to the back bumper, as we almost had one drive up over the top of him. And 794 go down and say hello to the 20-2, as now it looks like the 20-2 rear end might have been loose there or something for a second, picked back up. That 811 is going to go ahead and spin her around, but he'll take a wheel shot there from the 116 of Nathan Young. As these old iron caddies are built strong, and they are not afraid to use the skinny pedal here tonight in Spanish Fork. Couple swings and misses here. We got the 794 to the back of the 20-2, the 14S with a good shot there on the 811, as well as the P7 of Parker Post. That 14S machine is driven by Stevens. A good rear bumper to shot there from the 794 and the 116. As the 811 is making sure the 794 gets a little good rub up against the concrete barrier, as we got 2 nose-to-nose down on the far side of the track. That was the P7 of Post. And the 20-2 of Evil on the far side. The 69S of Ryland Smith was trying to get a little piece, and he ended up getting a piece of the wall instead. There's a good shot there from the P7. Once again, the 20-2 on the far side of the track. That rear end is bobbling around, as he'll take a good shot at from the 69S, as well as the 14S of Stevens will go down there and make a good shot as well. We've got some good Heat 1 action here in Spanish Fork, as there was a good little tapper there from the 20-2 and the P7 on the 116 car driven by Nathan Young. As they're all on the far side of the track now. Good nose-to-nose shot there from P7 to the Parker Post on 794 Killjoy. And the 14S gives a good little shot there. I believe that might be the 811 of Austin Faust. Not entirely too sure, though. No, that's not the 811. Excuse me. The 811 delivered a shot on him, though. As there's another good little tapper. Here comes a 20-2 of Evil. He'll get a piece of him too. As we got the 69S on the far side of the track with a little bit of radiator smoke. And he'll get nosed up onto the concrete wall, back down on his wheels. We'll go red momentarily, it looks like. And green flag back here at Spanish Fork in Utah, as the 14S goes down, and as well as the P7 on the 794, as they'll go nose to nose there. That was a hard shot. Sheldon, thanks for joining the chat, brother. Happy to see you over here at the Tri-State Race Media. Thanks for joining in. P7 with a hard shot again on the far side of the track on that purple and black car. As the 14S and the 20-2 are pushing each other around, they'll get into the 794 of Killjoy there. The 69S and the 116 nose to nose, getting a little push, if you will. The P7 to come up and give him another little nudge. It looks like the 69S and the 116 might be... Oh, they got off of it there. I thought they were stuck momentarily. There's the 20-2 and the 794, I believe. That is the 007X of Branton in that purple and black car. As they'll get pulled off of each other there. Branton got a little bit of header smoke going on now as he's going to try to stay alive. We're only taking 4 from this heat here. The 811 gives a good shot there to Parker Post in the P7. And Branton went down and delivered a good shot to the 14S of Stevens. The 116, the 794, the 69S, and the 14S all here on the close side of the track. As the 007X just took a good shot there from the 14S. Look at these old irons bend out here at Spanish Fork. I tell you what, it's a beautiful sight. Ain't never seen nothing quite as beautiful as this. As these cars are putting on one heck of a show for everybody in attendance at Spanish Fork and everybody watching at home. As the P7's looking for some of the action, he'll come down here and pick a shot wisely. And the 14S as well. We got a couple of them smoking down there on the far side of the track. That'll be the 14, or excuse me, the 007X of Branton and the 20-2 of Evil. As the 14S of Stevens will go down there just to say hello. He heard his name get called, so he wants to be a part of the action. And it looks like we got one stalled, maybe the 116 over here on the far side corner. Close side corner, excuse me. It looks like the 007X of Branton in that purple and black car on the far side of the track. It looks like he may be done here early tonight. As the 20-2 and the 116 are nose to nose in the corner. Gonna try to be getting out of there. That 20-2 has been battling rear end problems all night. That thing's bouncing around as well as getting into the back core support of that car. And there was a good shot there from the P7. Looks like the 794 and the 14S of Stevens may be hung up in the pillar or the halo there. As we are taking 4, we've got 1 down. We're down to 7. A couple of these cars still going strong. We got 2 hung together here on the close side of the track of the 116 and the 794. Or the 794 and the 14, excuse me. As he's hooked into that halo of the cage there. The 69S of Ryland Smith has begun to smoke out of the headers. He's getting her a little warm. There was a good shot there from the P7 of Parker Post, followed up by the 116 of Nathan Young. And those shots were delivered to the 20-2 of Evil. As the 69S and the 116 go back down to the far side of the track. Here he comes, hello, from the 116 on the 20-2. And the 69S with a good shot there on the 116. And everybody looking for some of the action. The 14S and the 794 still hung together. 811 gave a good shot to the back of the 14S on that one. I also believe that the 20-2 is out of time. The 69S is now stopped on the far side of the track as well. Everybody beating and banging, trying to be the last to stay alive here at the Caddy Showdown in Spanish Fork. We are taking 4 out of the first heat, taking 4. Looks like we're down to 5 moving cars here. The 811, the 116, the P7, the 14S, and the 794. I believe the 794 will be going on the clock here shortly. We have our 4 moving cars. I think the 14S did have last contact out of the 2 stuck together. These cars are going to continue to battle around until that red flag drops. P7 with another good shot there on the 811. The 116 getting into the back of the 14S, trying to get them stuck off of that 794. As those two cars have been stuck for a little while now. Good shot there from the 811 on the P7 of Parker Post. That 811 machine is driven by Austin Faust, and he has found the skinny pedal here at Spanish Fork. These cars are still going. Good shot there from the 811. He'll collect 2 on that one. And we do have a red flag here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be taking your 4. And the 4 are the P7 of Parker Post, the 116 of Nathan Young, the 811 of Austin Faust, and the 14S of Stevens. We'll be back here momentarily. We're going to get the cars re-racked for Heat 2, and we're going to go ahead and go down and talk to these drivers. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got Parker Post driving the P7 in the building here tonight. He was able to get down into the final 4 of the Heat 1 action. Parker Post, what do you got to say for yourself on your performance?
I mean, I lost steering mid-heat-ish. It was kind of hard to drive, especially with a flat tire, but we made it through.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, there's Parker Post. We'll be seeing him back here in Spanish Fork for your feature event action. Thanks for being here, Parker. We look forward to seeing you in the feature.
No problem.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we have the 116 of Nathan Young, and he was able to manage to get down into the final 4 here and make it to the feature event. Nathan, what do you got to say about that Heat 1 driving?
Didn't go as planned. Drove it hard. Uh, got into a sticky situation with a car against my front end. Had to pop myself to get out, but we made it to the feature, and well, I guess we'll work on our car and see what we can do.
Alrighty, man. Thanks for being here at Spanish Fork, and we look forward to seeing you back for the feature event. Congratulations. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we have the 811 of Austin Faust up here in the announcer booth. Austin, why don't you go ahead and walk us through that Heat 1 performance?
Out there. I mean, just lucked over the draw that he made it out. A lot of
Alrighty.
hard hitting.
Alrighty, man. Well, congratulations to you on cashing your ticket into the feature event here tonight at Spanish Fork. We look forward to seeing you back out there.
All right, thank you, sir.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, we have the 14S of Stevens, and he was the last qualifier there out of the Heat 1. Stevens, why don't you go ahead and walk us through what you had to do to stay alive as you found yourself stuck together with the 794 pretty early on and was able to still make some contact and be one of the final 4.
I just had to try to keep her cool and keep the contact without blowing the motor up.
Alrighty, man. Well, congratulations on cashing your ticket into the feature event here in Spanish Fork, and we'll look forward to seeing you there.
Yep.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get ready to bring you the Heat 2 action here at Spanish Fork. First and foremost, we got Bagger in the 928X, sponsored by Bangin' Graphics, Round Boys Fab, and Bone Shaker. Or excuse me, this is Punisher in the 64 or 61X by FMN. Then it's Bagger. And then 928X, Punisher sponsored by FMN AOC and Mad Scientist Motors. Baggers sponsored by Bangin' Graphics, Round Boys Fab, and Bone Shaker Promos. Coming out third here, we got Bentley, aka the Chunky Monkey, in the 90X, sponsored by MWP, TSRM, and GS Customs. Next here we have Richie in the 1118. That's a good looking red and black caddy right there. The 11-18 did not have any sponsors. After the 11-18, there was Cornbread in the 6X. He'll get sponsored by FMN, AOC, and MWPTSRM. After him is Jay Blake in the 11B, sponsored by the Backwoods Derby team and Smitty's Motorsports. And last but not least, we have Gregory Shackett in the 007, sponsored by FMN, MWPTSRM, and Bangin' Graphics. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be closing the track in here, getting these cars ready to go for your Heat 2 action here at Spanish Fork in the beautiful state of Utah. We've got 7 lined up in this heat. We will be taking 3 out of the heat. 3 will go from this heat to the feature. Ladies and gentlemen, we still have plenty of action to bring you here at the Tri-State Race Media. We still have a Conti and a feature event here after this, as we're going to get ready for some green flag action here. Heat 2 of the Old Iron Caddy Showdown here on the MWP TSRM server. As we're going to get ready for some green flag. There it is. Punisher with a quick move there on Cornbread, trying to dodge the 11-18 of Richie. As Cornbread will come over and give a little kiss back to Punisher. As the 11-18 going to keep backing up. As Bentley in the 90X gives them a good little shot. Here comes Punisher looking for the 928 of Bagger, and he'll miss him beneath the concrete wall instead. Bagger went down and delivered a good shot to the Chunky Monkey in the 90X. 007 of Shackett looking for some work in that Arkansas tuck. He come to put on a show, I'm sure, as he'll get a little piece of the 6X of Cornbread. And the 11-18 also says hello. Punisher and Cornbread getting together for a couple more times here tonight. The 007 delivered a good shot there on the back end of the 928. The 6X is going to be going down, looking for some action. That's that black and green caddy with them tall headers there. As the 90X delivered a good shot onto the 11B of Jay Blake, I believe. The 11-18 trying to get away from those cars as he takes a good shot there from the 928 of Bagger. As the Punisher machine will take a good little lick there from the 11-18. We have the 007 of Shackett and the 11B tangled up there momentarily. The 90X of Chunky Monkey and the 6X of Cornbread down there on the far end of the track. As they'll get together once more, Punisher comes to say hello to the Chunky Monkey himself as well. And there's a good little shot there from the 11-18 on the 6X of Cornbread. And Punisher with a good little rear end tap there on the 928 of Bagger. As the 90X of Chunky Monkey and the 61X of Punisher may have come together now. The front and rear bumper of those cars seem to be stuck together like glue. And the 11B also may be on the back of the 90X. The 61X gets off the front of the Chunky Monkey, as he still has one in tow. A little Cornbread sandwich there with the 007 of Shackett and the 11B. As Cornbread to go try to deliver a shot, he'll spin her around instead. Dodges Shackett there. Shackett goes and delivers a good shot to Punisher. Oh, as Cornbread to get into that back quarter panel of the 007 and kind of kick it up in the air for momentarily. As it was back on all fours, and we're staying green here at Spanish Fork. And Punisher goes nose to nose with Shackett on the far end. The 11-18, that car's still looking fresh. He'll go and get a little piece of Punisher there. It is also he'll kiss the wall. as the 90X Chunky Monkey gets into the rear end of the 11B. It also followed up by the 928X of Bagger. The rear end there of Shackett goes into the nose of the 6X of Cornbread. And it looks like the 90X and the 11B will come stuck together once more here this evening, as they're going to keep taking shots from the 1118 and the 007 of Shackett. The 6X with a good little quarter panel shot there on the 1118, as well as the 61X of Punisher. 928X of Bagger up there on the far side of the track. He's going to come down, look for some piece of the action. He won't get any of it, though, as we've got 7 cars here on the close side of the track where the action's good. And nose to nose there from the 6X and the 007, as the 11B and the 90X are still stuck together here on the close barrier, trying to get a little help from Punisher. 1118 missed a shot there, but he'll go back and get one on the 007 of Shackett. And it looks like the 11B might have went ahead and broke his stick, as he's got the 90X collected in his back bumper. Not much you can do about that. Hopefully we see those guys back here for the consolation, as the 1118 will miss some contact. And the 928 gets a good piece of that back of the 90X Chunky Monkey, who's been in tow with the 11B. The 11B is still making contact, though. He's going to keep on driving her around, trying to stay alive. The 007 of Shackett took a good shot from the 1118 on that one. And the 928X of Bagger and Cornbread to push each other to the wall, as Bagger took a good shot there from Punisher in the 61X. And the 61X also comes and delivers a good shot there to the 6X of Cornbread. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be taking 3 out of this heat to the feature. 3 out of the heat to the feature. As the 928X of Bagger there says hello to the wall, the back end of that car looks like it's not going to bend in his favor, as it's starting to get into those tires just a little bit. And the 1118 is stalled on the far side of the track. He'll take a good little lick there from the 6X of Cornbread, as these two cars still stuck together, but they are making contact, staying alive, keeping themselves on that shot clock. And the 007's going to look for a shot here, going to get a little piece of the 1118 as well as the 928, as the 6X is now coming with the tall headers, trying to get a piece of the 61. He'll miss it there, as the 007 of Shackett seems to have stalled it momentarily. He'll get it back up and going. We got a couple cars with some smoke down there on the far end, as these old iron cars have bent well here tonight, and they have come to put on a show. I want to thank everybody for watching here at the Tri-State Race Media Twitch channel. This action is brought to you by the MWP TSRM Discord server, as well as Tri-State Race Media Broadcasting and Announcing Services. As the 6X is getting back into the action there with the front end of the 11B, as Shackett gave the 928 a good shot there, and he went for a ride. The 007, that red and black Caddy, is just bouncing around. He may have stalled it once again. A good shot there from the 61X of Punisher on the 928 of Bagger. And the 11B and the 90X have been stuck together damn near the whole heat, but they have been keeping the contact, trying to team drive that situation a little bit, trying to stay alive, be one of the last 3 in this heat, as the 007 had it moving momentarily. 928X of Bagger is going to go and give him a little love tap, try to get him going. As these 2 cars on the far side of the track are trying not to get the 61X tangled up in it. He don't want no part of it. As the 1118 gives a good shot, as well as the 11B on the 6X. As this heat winds down just a little bit at a time, we're going to be getting closer to that 3-person remaining mark. As of right now, everybody is still alive. Everybody's been making contact. The 007 of Shackett's trying to get her fired back up. The 6X of Cornbread looking for a shot. Didn't take that one. He'll go nose to nose with the 928 instead. As the 11B went and gave Shackett a little love tap. And now we're going to have all these cars on the close side of the track where the action's good. And the 61X has got a little bit of a hopping problem there on the front end of that Caddy as well, as the 6X just barely missed a shot on the 928. He went in and got a piece of the front end of that 90X that's hung up on the back of the 11B instead. As the 1118 looks to maybe be losing a tranny. He's got the pedal down, but he ain't really going anywhere in a hurry here at Spanish Fork. As the 61X went and delivered a good shot there to the 6X of Cornbread. The 11B and the 90X still trying to stay alive, looking for a little bit of contact. I believe the 90X is done. I'm not too sure on that one. The 6X of Cornbread has began to start to header smoke now. The 928 of Bagger still going strong. The 61X of Punishers, he's smoking as well. He may have blew that one up as he's not going anywhere. As these guys here in Spanish Fork have come to put on a show, everybody's fighting to stay alive to get to the feature event. As the 11B went up onto the back of the 928, we might have 3 cars. Nope, never mind. He came off there. As the 61X of Punisher and the 007 of Shackett have now broken their sticks. We're down to 5 at the moment, I think. Down to 5. The 928 with a good shot there on the 1118. He'll go ahead and kiss the wall as well. And now the 1118 will find himself up on the wall. That's not good for his situation, as he didn't have enough muscle in that tranny to pull the car around in the first place. I doubt he's getting off the concrete wall. Now the 6X of Cornbread has come to a stop on the far side of the track. We're down to 2 moving cars under their own power. That's the 11B of Jay Blake and the 928 of Bagger. As the 6X went ahead and took another shot there. And I'm unsure if the 90, or not the 90, or yes, it is the 90X. The 90X of Bentley, I am unsure if he is still alive in this heat. And the 928 with a good shot there on the both of them, the 11B and the 90X. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're down to our final 3 cars. That'll do it. That's a red flag. We got the 90X of Bentley, the 11B of Jay Blake, and the 928 of Bagger. Moving on. We will go in a brief intermission as we get ready to head down to the track to speak with these drivers. Give us just a second here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got the 928 of Bagger in here first. He looked to be the one that was going under his own power the most. Bagger, what do you got to say about that Heat 2 performance?
Well, I'm not a caddy guy. I'm a 76-old guy. These caddies are, dog water, you know what I'm saying, as the new kids say it today. But she held up amazing, totally, as a 76-old guy would say. But yeah, it was pretty shit bad out there, Baggerville, get your graphics from Bagger Graphics for sure.
Alrighty, man. Well, congratulations on punching your ticket into the feature event. We look forward to seeing you there.
I won't be in there for long, but we'll be there.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, we have the 90X of Bentley. Bentley was able to stay alive into the final 3 of the Heat 2. Bentley, what do you got to say about that Heat 2 performance? You were stuck together with the 11B for quite a while, was able to drive those things around.
Yeah, I don't know how I really did it. I stalled out a couple times, couldn't really control it. Kind of just went with him and hoped to get a hit. You
All
know, I thank Gregory Shackett. He kind of helps me with all this stuff, you know.
Alrighty, well, congratulations to you on punching your ticket here at the feature event at Spanish Fork. We look forward to seeing you there.
Yep.
Alrighty, folks, next up we have the 11B of Jay Blake. He was able to drive that tangled mess up there with Bentley to fight down to a final 3 transfer spot into the Heat 2. Jay Blake, what do you got to say for yourself there at your Heat 2 performance?
Oh, it was a rough one. Having someone stuck to the back of me, I'm just glad he worked with me and I didn't burn my clutch up or burn my trip motor up.
Alrighty, well,
It was a tough
congratulations on
heat.
punching your ticket here to the feature event here in Spanish Fork. We look forward to seeing you there, brother.
Thank you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting ready to go green flag action here at Spanish Fork in Utah for your Conci event. We are going to be taking 3 cars here to go into the feature. Your feature event will consist of the 10 best cars out of the 15 that showed up here tonight. As they are getting ready to go here now. Green flag drops. As the 69S get into the back of the 20-2 of Evil, the 1118 stuck up against the wall. The 007 of Shaka gets into the front end there, the 6X. And there will be a good shot there, Branton and the 007X. These guys are going to continue to battle here. They're going to fight to be the last 3 alive. As the 20-2 got a good shot on the 1118 there on the far side of the track. As Branton and the 007X is coming to say hello to the 794 of Killjoy. And the 1118 and the 20-2 are up on the far side of the track. They were getting together there for momentarily. And the 007 will say hello to the 20-2 as well. The 1118 with a good shot there on that steer tire, the 794. The 20-2 gets up on the back rear quarter panel there of the 794. He may be stuck there for a moment, as that is not good here in the Conci event. That's the last thing you want, is a little extra weight on the back bumper to carry around. He'll get off there now, as that 20-2 is going to come back and look for some of the 1118, as well as a little love tap back to the 794 once again, as the 90X, or excuse me, not the 90X, the 007X, the Branton is on the far side of the track looking for a piece of the action, but he doesn't have any steering, as those tires are going every which way but straight. And the 007 on the far side of the track was getting a little love from the 1118. He's going to try to come away from that as the 6X gets into the back of the rear of the 69S. We've got a lot of beating and banging around going on here at Spanish Fork in the Conci event. This is these guys' last chance to punch that ticket into the feature event, so they're going to drive these cars like they stole them and try to cash that ticket. The 69S gets into the back of Shackett on that one. 794 of Killjoy delivered a good shot as well. The 1118 with a swing and a miss on the 20-2. He got a piece of the concrete wall instead. And the 794 is going to go down and give him a tap. A good shot there from 6X of Cornbread on the 20-2 of Evil. Shackett center hard there to the nose of the 69S of Ryland Smith. And Shackett into the wall on the close side of the track. The 69S of Ryland Smith doing a little beating and banging around. The 1118 coming down Broadway looking for a shot. He'll get it there on the 007X of Branton. As the 1118 is folding pretty nicely so far. The 007X of Branton gets into the front end of the 69S. That 69S of Ryland Smith has began to smoke here pretty early. The 794 gets her refired. Good little shot there from the 6X. The 007 of Shackett went all the way down and went nose to nose with the 20-2 of Evil, as well as the 1118 will come down to say hello to Evil as well. Shackett delivered a good quarter panel shot there on the 1118, followed up by a shot from Killjoy. And the 007X trying to escape that mess. The 20-2 come down and deliver a good shot there on the 69S of Ryland Smith. The 6X of Cornbread looking for some of it. Instead, he'll get a piece of it from the 007 of Shackett. And the 007X of Branton will go up and kiss the wall on that one. He was trying to get a piece of the Cornbread, but he swung and missed on that one. The 007 of Shackett and the 794 of Killjoy have now found themselves stuck together rear to rear, as these guys are going to want to try to stay alive here in the Consi. That 20-2 of Evil gave a good little shot there to the Killjoy machine, and now that 20-2 maybe lost a rear tire somewhere on that track, as he's kind of third wheeling it a little bit, picking up that driver's side front. As now it looks like we might have 3 cars stuck together on in the middle of the track. Excuse me, it'll be the 007X, the 007, and the 794. As these guys are wanting to get off of here, we're only taking 3. 6X is trying to help him out, trying to get him off there. The 20-2, I think that car's a little messed up. The rear end's out from underneath of it, and the front end is stuck up in the air. As the 007X of Branton and the 007 of Shackett remain stuck together. They got off the back of the 794 Killjoy. They're going to keep driving that thing around, looking to stay in some contact. 1118 also battling some steering issues. We got the 6X of Cornbread working on the 69S of Ryland Smith here on the close side of the track. And the 1118 with a good little rear shot there on the 6X of Cornbread, getting into the front end of that. And the 007X and the 007 on the far side of the track, they're trying to get it together. They give a good shot there to the 20-2 of Evil. Now coming to get a piece of the 69S. They'll miss it. Branton goes into the wall on that one. And it looks like those 3 are now stuck together. 794 Killjoy is going to be stuck in the middle of the track by himself. There's a 69S of Ryland Smith, the 6X of Cornbread, and the 1118 are the only cars moving around under their own power right now. 20-2 is trying to get unstuck off the back of there, but his car is so bent up, I don't think it can make up which way it wants to go. We'll be taking 3 and a Mad Dog out of this heat. As the 1118 and the 69S are now stuck together as well. The 6X of Cornbread is the last one moving around under his own power. The 1118 has got the 69 attached to him. The 007's over there on the far side. They've remained stuck. The 20-2 is all fucked up. Can't figure out what he's doing. He won't go forward, won't go reverse. There it goes. And we got the 6X. The 69S still making contact. The 1118 is going to come down and say hello as well. Looks like the 20-2 finally broke it off. The 007s are still trying to get unstuck. I think they were out a while ago, though. The 69S of Ryland Smith has now come to a stop as well. The 6X and the 1118 with a good little shot there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like that's going to do it. We have your 3 placers, the 6X of Cornbread, the 1118, Richie, the 69S of Ryland Smith, and your Mad Dog, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the 007 of Gregory Shackett in that red and black Cadillac. as he was going nose to nose with anybody he could get in front of, and he just happened to get stuck into the Killjoy machine, and then also a little help from the 007X. We're going to take a brief intermission here as we get down to the track to interview these top three that transferred. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got Rylan Smith up here in the announcer's booth. He was able to cash his ticket in through the consi to be able to get into the feature event. Ryland, what do you got to say?
Well, I broke my steering off start. That was a very bad start, but you gotta drive smart on that track.
Yes, sir. Well, congratulations on being able to punch your ticket in there. And
Thanks.
we'll see you in the feature. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. Next we have the 1118 Richie in here. He was able to get down to the final three to be able to cash his ticket into the feature event as well. Richie, what do you got to say?
I've never been a part of this show before. It's an amazing show to run. I'll definitely come back run again.
Well, we appreciate that over here on the MWPTSRM as well as Tri-State Race Media. Congratulations on being able to punch your ticket into the feature through the consi. We'll see you there.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Last but not least, we had the 6X of Cornbread coming up into the announcer booth. Cornbread, you were able to battle yourself down into a final three and to be able to transfer through the last chance qualifier into the feature event here at Spanish Fork. What do you got to say about that consolation performance?
It was a tough one, I'll be honest. It was a battle from the start. I ended up losing that one front wheel, and it was just kind of holding me. I was fighting around for contact, doing the best I could.
Alrighty, brother. Well, congratulations on punching your ticket into the feature event here at Spanish Fork, and we look forward to seeing what you got here in the feature.
Alrighty, thank you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for your consi here at Spanish Fork. We interviewed the top three as we have for the other heats as well. We will be getting ready to bring your feature event action of Spanish Fork Old Iron Caddy Showdown here shortly. We're going to be getting these drivers ready, getting them on the track, getting their chin straps buckled, and everything fastened tight. We'll be back momentarily. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for your feature event here at Spanish Fork in the beautiful state of Utah. We're going to get ready to start bringing these cars out. We've got 10 drivers here tonight for your feature event of the Old Iron Caddy Showdown here in the MWP TSRM server. The first car out is going to be... Oh, we're getting some settings going right here. All right, first out, we got the 20-2 of Evil, sponsored by FAFO Incorporated, Mad Doggin Derby Products, and Crunch Time Derby. Next, we got the 1118 of Richie. Then we got the Greg Shackett machine, the 007. FMN, MWP, TSRM, banging graphics on that ride there. Then you have the 69S of Rylan Smith, sponsored by Backwoods Derby Team Smitty's Motorsports. Then you got the Parker Post and the P7 Backwards Derby Team, Post Promos Gone Postal. Then you got the 811 of Austin Faust, Backwoods Derby Team Smitty's Motorsports. And you got Stevens in the 14S, sponsored by AB Custom Designs Conspiracy Coffee. And then you got Bentley in the 90X coming in hot, sponsored by MWP, TSRM, and GS Customs. Then we have Nathan Young in the 116, sponsored by 116 Graphic Team, Backwoods Derby Team. And last but not least, pulling out onto the track is the 11B of Jay Blake, sponsored by the Backwoods Derby Team, Smitty's Motorsports, and Stevens Designs. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get the concrete block moved on over, get these chin straps buckled tight, and the 10 baddest drivers that showed up here to the Spanish Fork Arena in the beautiful state of Utah for the Old Iron Caddy Showdown are about to go live with the green flag action. Make sure that you stay tuned after the feature event is done. We will be interviewing the top 3 as well as your Mad Dog. And we're going to get ready to go. Green flag action here as the sun is finally set here at Spanish Fork. Green flag, there it is. Some good shots early there from the 69S as well as the 007 of Shackett. Everybody's going to be picking their shots a little bit more wiser here in the feature event, as only the top 3 are going to be in the money. Nice and slow start. All these cars are bunched up. P7 and the 90X are tangled together, it looks like. He's going to get a good shot there from the 116. The 11B of Jay Blake's going to come in and give her a good shot there to the 811. The 69S and the 1118 have also found themselves stuck. They'll get each other done there. And the 14S was going for a ride on the back of the 90X of the Chunky Monkey. He was able to get off of that. As Shackett's going to go down to the far side of the track to deliver a good shot there to the Ryland Smith in the 69S. The 11B gives a good little nudge there to the 20-2 of Evil. All these Cadillacs have come to party here at the Old Iron Caddy Showdown here in Spanish Fork. As these cars are going to be looking for some action. Everybody trying to make these cars last. Everybody wants a little bit of that money to take home to the wife. As these cars are going to keep battling it out. A little love sandwich there from the 20-2 and the 116 on the 811. As the 90X to deliver a good shot there to the 007 of Shackett. The 11B's backing down the track as he'll miss the 14S of Stevens and then go nose to nose with him. As Parker Post in the P7 delivered a good shot there to the passenger door of the 90X, the Chunky Monkey. As Parker Post has found the skinny pedal here early tonight. And the 69S decides to go nose to nose with Shackett on that one. Shackett with a good little quarter panel shot there on the 116 of Nathan Young. And the 14S and the 90X go nose to nose. The 11B give a good little shot there to the P7 of Parker Post. Good shot there from Shackett on the 90X. As he's going to end up getting underneath of that car. He might be sitting on top of that back bumper. That's not good. Good shot there from the 14 on what I think is the, that's not the 116, that's the 1118 of Richie. Yeah, he took a good passenger door shot there. 14S with a good shot on the 116. As those cars are all bunched together on the far side of the track now. Good shot there from the P7 on the 90X. .116 took Shackett all the way to the wall on that one. P7 of Parker Post gets into the back of the 20-2 of Evil. Whoa, Nelly, we got one over on his side, two on their side now. One on his lid and one on his side anyways. As once those cars went over, I don't know if they're going to go back straight. as they're going to go ahead and untangle him there. The 11B of Jay Blake and the 007 of Shackett got tangled together and went over, as they'll get one rollover now, or limit it to 2, or limit it to 3. 2 rollovers is good. 3 rollovers, you're out of here. As Shackett's going to give a little rub and paint on the 116. He'll take a shot on the passenger side from the P7 of Parker Post. As the 811 and the 1118 on the far side of the track, they look like they may be stuck side by side as they'll break off now, looking for some action. As that was a good shot there on the far end from P7 Parker Post on the 90X of the Chunky Monkey. And Parker Post and that P7 is fighting for that Mad Dog spot if he doesn't get in the top 3, I can tell you that now. As he has found a skinny pedal here in Spanish Fork. Ladies and gentlemen, as of now, every single one of these cars is still in the action. We got 10 cars battling it out, and only 3 will be in the money. Parker Post with another good rear bumper shot there on the 69S of Ryland Smith. As the 007 of Shackett got a little love tap there from Parker Post as well. The 811 goes nose to nose there with Stevens. The 90X of Chunky Monkey trying to escape as Shackett delivered a good shot there. And that would have been on Parker Post himself, as Parker Post is going to take the 11B up and over. And he's going to have his second rollover now. So one more rollover in the 11B driven by Jay Blake is going to be out of here. As he took one heck of a shot there from Parker Post. And that P7 Caddy, sponsored by the Backwoods Derby team, as Parker came to Spanish Fork to party. And we're going to get ready for the green flag here. There it is. The 1118 isn't looking too hot, as he is looking hot with a little bit of header smoke. A little bit of clutch problems as well, as that car's struggling to get down the track. The 007 give a little love tap there to the 20-2. As the 116 gave a Ryland Smith and the Parker Post machine a good little tap there to get those cars unstuck. And Ryland Smith to go down and say hello to the back bumper of Shackett. And we got Ryland Smith with a good shot there on the quarter panel and B pillar of Parker Post. As the 1118 is battling it out there with another car on the far side of the track. The 1118 is probably going to fall here pretty soon, as it looks like that car on the far side is the 90X of the Chunky Monkey. And we got a lot of action going on here in the feature event of the Old Iron Caddy Showdown here at the Spanish Fork Arena in Utah. Good little shot there from Ryland Smith on the 007 of Shackett. The 90X took a shot there from the P7 of Parker Post. He's going to find himself up on the concrete. Can he get himself off of there? That's not a good situation to be in here, as that was your Mad Dog contender as of now. Ryland Smith with a good shot there on the B pillar of 007. 811 comes and says hello as well. All the action is here close where the getting is good. And they're making sure he's not stuck. He's just on it, so he's going to stay right where he's at. And green flag drops. And the 11B is trying to help his buddy off of there. The 11B and the P7. 20-2 getting in a little love sandwich there. They took a good shot of the 811, giving it to the 1118 in the back bumper. The 116 with a good shot there on the 007. The 007 delivers a shot of his own on the 90X. As the 811 is trying to get that P7 machine off of there, but I don't think he's going anywhere, as that machine is stuck up on top of those concrete blocks. They're going to keep banging him, trying to help him out, trying to get him off there. Making sure he's not stuck once again. He's just on top of it. As we remain red flag momentarily, there's the green, as we'll get back underway with the action here. The 116 gonna give Parker Post another little nudge. All the action's getting good on the far side of the track. The 007 and the 90X of the Chunky Monkey are going head to head. There's a good shot there from Shackett. As the 69S has lost steering now. 90X with a good shot there on the 14S of Stevens. The 20-2 of Evil getting a little piece of the action as well. And the 90Xs begin to smoke now as Ryland Smith and the 007 of Shackett are going rear bumper to rear bumper as the 90X will deliver a shot on Ryland Smith himself. We got all kinds of action over here at the MWP TSRM server. Get in while the getting's good. We got weekly action as well as some fun runs popping up throughout the week. Good little shot there from the 116 on the 69S of Ryland Smith. As a 116, the 69S, and what I believe is the 1118 are all up here by Parker Post, taking a little bit of the abuse. As the 14S is going to get on the brake pedal there from the 811. Didn't want no part of him as the 811 still looks pretty fresh here. 007 of Shackett coming in, giving the 116 a good little push as he'll take one there from the 20-2 of Evil. And another good shot there from the 116 on that passenger side door, the 14S of Stevens. As the 116 is driven by Nathan Young. The rear of that car is folded up nicely here in the feature event at Spanish Fork. And we still have 8 cars remaining. The 116 and the 007 of Shackett are nose to nose. Shackett didn't want no part of the push. But he'll go back and deliver a tap to the 116 and the 14S as well. As the 811 pushes the 1118 up against the wall. As the 11B deliver a good shot there to the passenger side of the 811. As everybody's taking their time, trying to pick them shots wisely. The 116 got into the 14S. The 14S into the 11B on that one. Shackett making work down there on the far end with the 1118. Good shot there from the 20-2 on the 811. The 811 and the 11B go back and give a little piece of their own to the 20-2. There's a good shot down on the far side of the track from what I believe is the 11B down there. As Shackett looks to be fighting some steering problems as well as the back end of that Caddy sitting awfully low. As he's going to try to stay alive here in the feature event in Spanish Fork. Tried there on the 811, gets the concrete wall instead. He'll go back down and try her again. 116 into the wall that time as the 11B will go down and give a little love tap to the 1118 and the 69S of Ryland Smith. That 1118 machine's driven by Richie. 116 to take Shackett on over to the wall. Shackett is trying to stay alive. Those 116 got into the 20-2, the 811 and the 11B back into him as well. The 116 on the far side of the track got on to Ryland Smith. The 811 to give a little love tap to the 20-2, followed up by one to the 11B. Whoa, Nelly, there's one up and over on his side there as the 116 pushed on over on the 1118. And with a little bit of help from the back bumper of the 69S of Ryland Smith, those 3 cars are going to go up in the air as there's a little wallpaper action for you folks at home. The 1116 getting pulled off the 1118, or the 116 getting pulled off the 1116, or 1118, excuse me. All these numbers are a little confusing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, green flag coming shortly. There it is there. As that 116 driven by Nathan Young has been delivering some action as well. Good shot there from the 11B on the front fender of the 811. Shackett getting back into the action. He'll take some shots there from the 116 as well as the 14S of Stevens. And I think that 116 has finally found where the skiddy pedal is and not going to save that car much longer using it up like that. That rear end is folded up nicely. 811 gets into the back of the 11B there of Jay Blake. And the 1118 right here by the rear end of the Parker post machine that's up on the wall. He's been struggling to find the high gear in that thing all night long, but he's staying alive. 811 there in the side of the 69S of Ryland Smith. And the 811 to go down and to get into the 20-2 of Evil. The 811 and the 11B come to the close side of the track. They're going to be going back down, looking for some action. The 811 took a little shot there from the 1118. The 11B got into the 69S as well. The 811 come in with a good shot there on the 1118. As that 1118 machine has been taking a little bit of abuse from everybody here tonight in Spanish Fork. As the 811 to go down there and smack one of those dead cars, and he almost sent it back on the trailer. Do a little bit of the work for these skid loaders here tonight. The 811 get into the 11B now. Shackett pushing the 20-2 as well as Smith. The 116 and the 1118 down there on the far end going at it. Shackett's going to do a little bit of pushing there on the 811. He'll take a shot now from Ryland Smith in the 69S as they're both going to go to work on the 811 here momentarily. Shackett and the 69S come together now. The 116 wanting in on the fun. He says, hello, count me in here. He'll get a little piece of the Shackett. Or that's the 14S of Stevens, excuse me. The 114's on the far side of the track. Now he's coming down, gets a shot there on the 811. The 811 driven by Austin Faust. Ladies and gentlemen, we still have 8 cars in the action. 8 cars in the action. We're going all the way down to the final one. The top 3 being the money. As the 69S is trying to get away from that gang of cars there in the middle of the track. The 116 and the 1118 stay close together. As the 11B down there on the far side of the track, he's going to be getting a little bit of action from the 14S of Stevens. The 69 of Ryland Smith and the 007 of Shackett come together there. The 11B was looking for a shot, but the only thing he got was the concrete wall on that one. He'll go down, send it in reverse, get into the back of the 116 of Nathan Young. Send it into the concrete barrier once more there. As the 11B has used up most of his cars, trying to get in some contact while he can. Red flag there as the 116 drove up and over the back bumper of the 007 of Shackett. That'll be the 116's first rollover of the night. He was able to assist in a rollover earlier, but that will be his first one so far. As we get ready for that green flag to drop here in Spanish Fork. There it is. This has been quite the feature event here in Spanish Fork as these caddies have come to put on a show. And I tell you what, that 11B is not looking too healthy as he's made contact with the wall a couple times. He's now going to be stuck to the 20-2 of Evil. And Shackett looks like he may be hung up in there as well. He's going to keep getting a little bit of contact there from the 811 of Faust. As they're going to push this gang of cars up against the wall now. Shackett looks to be stuck in the mud as of right now. The 116 delivered a good shot there on the back bumper. The 69S of Ryland Smith. Whoa, Nelly, the 14S of Steven delivered a good shot there on the 69S of Ryland Smith. As well, it got a little piece of the 11B of Jay Blake. As it looks like we are currently down to 5 cars moving around the track. 5 cars moving around the track. The 1118, the 14, the 116, the 69S, and the 811. As that 1118 is hard moving there up with Shackett. As the 811 goes ahead and tips him on over. That'll be the 1118's second rollover now. So one more and he'll be out of here for the night. As I don't think he's got much car left to use anyways. That 1118 has been part of the abuse all night long. Couldn't escape it if he tried. We're going to see what's going on here. He's not stuck in the wall. Little bit of damage cam for you guys watching at home. We're going to get ready to go green flag action here in Spanish Fork. There's the green flag there. The 69S coming, took a good shot there on the 116 of Nathan Young. Nathan Young's going to go and say hello there to the 1118. The 14S of Stevens beating up on Shackett and Evil here on the close side. As those 5 cars in the middle are the last fighting ones of the bunch as of now. Cars here on the close side seem to all be done and out of time as of right now. 69S got a little piece of the 1118. 1118 goes into the back bumper there, the 116, followed up by the 811. As Steven's going to come down and look for some of the action. He'll give a little love tap there to the back quarter panel of the 811. Ryland Smith into the front end of the 1118. Ryland Smith gets up into the 14S of Stevens as well. As they're going to be beating and banging around all over the far side of the track. The 116 is going to come back to the middle to line up a shot. As that car's having a little bit of problems getting around the racetrack. As now 69S of Ryland Smith's giving the 811 of Faust a little push to the middle. As everybody's fighting to stay alive here in the old Iron Caddy Showdown. There's a good shot there from the 14S on the Ryland Smith. The 116's trying to battle that steering and make some contact. The 811 with another good shot there on the 1118. And it looks like Nathan Young, he was hooked there momentarily. He's battling some steering issues. The 811 up there on the far side of the track, trying to get a piece of the 14S. As the 69S of Ryland Smith was getting pushed into the pile by the 811. The 69S and the 1118 with a good little piece of contact there. Ladies and gentlemen, right now we are down to 5 cars. That's the 69S of Ryland Smith, the 1118 of Richie, the 116 of Nathan Young, the 811 of Austin Faust, and the 14S of Stevens. As everybody's getting into the action while it's good. The 811, the 69S, and the 1118 all come together. The 69S is trying to get out of this pile of cars. They're going to keep making some contact. The 811 on the far side of the track. The 1118 is fighting to stay alive, trying to find the high gear in that transmission once again. As the 14S is going to go down to the far side, as well as the 116, excuse me. The 811 is going to go into the back bumper of the 1118. 69S or Ryland Smith's finally finding his way out of the bunch here down on the close side of the track. He's going to go to look for a shot on the 116 of Young. And he'll get it there. As now the 1118 and the 811 look to be hung together. As Nathan Young will go down and deliver a shot on Stevens. Stevens driving the 14S. As the 1118 looks like he's going to be getting some more abuse. The 811 delivered a good shot there on the 116 of Young. These 5 drivers are going to battle them down to those cars will not go anymore. I can promise you that. The 69S with a little kiss to the wall there. No harm, no foul. The 14S and the 69S get together momentarily. The 116 and the 1118 are going to find themselves up against the concrete block as the 811 is going to come down and say hello to the 14S of Stevens. And nose to nose there for the 811 and the 116. The 811 just hitting anybody in his way now. The 69S is wheel hopping and banging around. The 1118 looks like he's finally burned up that motor or clutch, one or the other. As now the 811 will find himself, nope, they got him unstuck. 1118 made some contact there with his 69S, he'll stay alive. That 811's header smoke may be worrisome to some. However, he'll keep making contact there on the 1118. The 14S is going to go down, look for some action. He'll escape a shot there from the 116. And the 811, as of now, seems to be stuck in the mud on the far side of the track. We're down to 4 moving cars, 4 moving cars. As the 69S, the 116, the 1118, and the 14S are the last 4 moving around. The 69S got a good little shot there on the tire of the 1118, followed up by a shot from the 116. Little love tap action going on here as there's not much left of the cars. It's going to maybe come down to see who runs out of gas first if these cars stay alive. As the 1118's got her held to the floor. The converter on that car's got to be screaming hot right now. Here comes the 116 on a good shot there on the back end of the 69S driven by Ryland Smith. Nathan Young has come to party here tonight in Spanish Fork as he's one of the 4 in the Final 4 here in the Old Iron Caddy Showdown. The 14S of Stevens there with a good wheel shot on the back of the 69S of Ryland Smith. The 116 of Nathan Young doesn't have much steering to help him out, but he's going to keep looking for some of the action as that car really did fold up good for him here tonight. As he'll miss a shot there on the 14S of Stevens. The 14S is still getting around here the track pretty good. Good little shot there from the 69S and the 116. They're going to try to push that 1118 up over against the wall and hope that he stays there. The 116 going to come look for some of the action. There's a good shot there from the 14S on the 1118. Followed up by a good shot there from Ryland Smith on the 116. Good little love tap there from the 116 on the 14S of Stevens. Bumper to bumper action there from the 69S on the 116, as well as followed up by a shot on the 14S of Stevens. As the 116 was able to dodge a shot there from the 14S. Nathan Young driving that 116 machine, trying to see if he's got what it takes to stay alive and be the last one here at the Old Iron Caddy Showdown. Here comes 69S of Smith looking for some of the action. He won't get any, but he'll get a little from the 116 of Nathan Young. And the 14S gets in on it with the 69S. Is that 11-18 slowly but surely is looking for some contact. Will they give it to him? There it is. The 14S with a good shot there on the 69S of Ryland Smith. As those two will get together once more. The 116 down on the far side of the track trying to get that thing turned around to come be a part of the action. He might take a shot there on the 11-18 to try to stay alive. The 11-18 is getting slower now. A good shot there from the 69S on the 116. As finally the 11-18 is beginning to header smoke after he took that radiator shot from the 116 of Nathan Young. That 11-18 has been stuck to the floor all night long. That torque converter been giving them problems throughout the night. As the 69S, the 116, and the 14S are still going strong. The 14S will give a little tap-a-rooski to the 11-18. There's the 116 looking for some of the action. He won't take any though. The 116 is going to push the 11-18 all the way up against the wall as he finally may have broken it off. We're down to 3, ladies and gentlemen. 3 cars remain. 3 cars remain. The 116, the 69S, and the 14S. The 69S gets into the back bumper of the 116, the 14S as well. As it may be, there's another good shot there. I believe the 14S of Stevens was probably the only car left in the arena with steering at this point, as the 69S has only got it in the one wheel. There's a good nose-to-nose there from Ryland Smith on the 116 of Nathan Young, as that was a good nose-to-nose one there. And the 14S is going to go down there, sing her a tune and spin her around as he'll get a little love tap there on the back bumper from the 69S. And Ryland comes and tries to deliver a shot there to Nathan Young. He'll miss it and get a piece of the wall instead. Followed up by a shot from Stevens as now it looks like Stevens may be stuck in the B pillar of the halo of the cage of the 69S of Ryland Smith. As this isn't going to be good, folks. There's a good shot there from the 116 using up the rear end of that car or on the front end of the Ryland Smith machine. As those cars came unglued, they're looking for some more action. The 14 into the side of the 116, excuse me. The 69S is going to try to get her turned around. Not much left of that Caddy there. Yeah, he'll get a good shot on the back bumper of the 14S of Stevens, as it looks like the rear end of that car has came out past the quarter panels now. We have 3 drivers left here in the feature event here in Spanish Fork, Utah. Good little nose-to-nose shot there from the 116 and the 69S. Whoa, Nelly, we had one over on his side there. As it looks like the 116 is going to say hello to the 14S of Stevens and send him over on his side. That'll be his first one of the night. As we'll get ready back for some more green flag action here. There they go. As the 69S is now beginning to smoke just a little bit. 116 looking for some action. The 69S looking for it too on the 14S. Good little shot there from Smith on the side of the 116 of Young. 14S of Stevens was in a little bit of a sandwich. He'll go nose to nose with Young himself now. As Ryland Smith get into the back of that quarter panel of the Stevens machine once more. And here comes Smith with another good shot there on Stevens in the 14S. He's going to push him up here into this pile of cars. Try to get him hung up on one. Go back down, try to deliver a shot to the 116. He'll miss it though. Here, look out as he'll hit the dead car of Shackett. Luckily, Shackett was able to exit his car and go to the side of the arena earlier in the night. As the 14S now into the side of the 69S, the 116 of Young is trying to fight that steering, trying to get back into the action. As Stevens and Smith are on the far side of the track all by themselves. Smith's going to come down. He's looking for Young. He's looking for him. He won't get him, though. He'll get into another dead car, the 1118. As Parker, not Parker Post. It'll be Ryland Smith in the 69S. Ryland is trying to fight his way down, using up that caddy on the rear end of the Stevens machine once more. The 116 was able to get some contact there on the 69S of Ryland Smith. He'll be fighting to stay alive as well. And the 14S needs to get in a hit now. Nose to nose there for the 69S and the 116, as well as the 116 and the 14. Three cars remain here in the Old Iron Caddy Showdown. Those cars went nose to nose there. That's the 69 and the 14. The 114 went and delivered a good shot there to the 69S, as now the 69S and the 116 look like they may be stuck together. They come unstuck. The 14S delivered a good little shot there on the fender of the 116. As the 116, the 14, and the 69, all three still remain. Trying to get in on some of the action. Looks like the 116 and the 14 may be trying to work together to get Smith eliminated out of this. As the 14S is backing up, as well as the 116 looking for a shot. 69S delivered a good one there on the 116 of Nathan Young. As the 69S is starting to belly just a little bit. He's catching himself now. Another good shot nose to nose there with the 14S of Stevens. Tyler Crawford and Greg, thanks for joining in the chat. We appreciate you being in here. As the 69S of Ryland Smith has now begun to header smoke. Good little love tap there from the 116 and the 69S. The 14 of Stevens now coming to be a part of the action. He'll get some of Ryland Smith. Nathan Young there with a good little tap-a-rooney there to the 69S. Followed up by a shot from the Stevens and the 14S. Nose to nose on the far side for the 116 and the 69. As the 116 has now begun to also smoke out of those headers. And he'll deliver a good shot there to that rear quarter panel on the 14 of Stevens. Godfather, thanks for being in this chat. We appreciate you being here. As the 69S of Ryland Smith is officially turned off, that'll be your third place winner tonight. Head to head for the 116 and the 14, trying to finish her off, as the 116 looked like he might have gotten the bad end of the deal on that one. One more time, as the 14S is now finally began to smoke out of those headers. And he'll get a little bit of a tap there on the 116. These two are fighting to be the last one alive. This is your first and second place battle here. Good shot there from the 14S of Stevens. As the 116 is down there with the 69S of Smith now, and he finally turned off as well, I think. And ladies and gentlemen, there will be your winner, the 14S of Stevens. Second place goes to the 116 of Nathan Young, and third place, the 69S of Ryland Smith. Ladies and gentlemen, this was one heck of a showdown here, the Old Iron Caddy Showdown at the Spanish Fork Arena here in Utah. Give us one quick second. We're going to hop in and talk to these drivers. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got Ryland Smith that was driving the 69S machine. He was able to battle his way down to a third place finish here in Spanish Fork. Ryland, what do you got to say for yourself?
All right. This track was mean and green, all right? The Caddy, she did pretty well in the rear, but front end did some funky things, but we wheeled her down to third, and I'm happy about it.
All right, man. Well, congratulations on your third place finish here in the Old Iron Caddy Showdown here at Spanish Fork, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.
I'll try to see you next one too, Bob.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, now joining us in the booth is Nathan Young driving the 116. He was able to wheel it down to a second place finish here in the Old Iron Caddy Showdown in Spanish Fork. Nathan, what do you got to say about that performance here tonight?
Well, I just gotta say it's not what I wanted. I did break steering early, so I mean I had to try to do something. So I just took it slow, got second, and there was a lot of buddies out here. It was kind of hard to hit them and not feel bad. So but got second place, so that's all I can be thankful for. I want to thank 116 Graphics, Team Backwoods Derby team, and I want to thank all my fans out there.
Alrighty, Nathan. Well, congratulations once again on your second place finish here at the Old Iron Caddy Showdown, brought to you by the MWPTSRM server, and we look forward to seeing you here on the next one.
Yes, sir. You will.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, we have the 14S of Stevens, who was able to wheel that thing down to your first place finish here tonight at the Old Iron Caddy Showdown. Stevens, what do you got to say about your performance here tonight?
I felt like I done pretty good. Car held up fairly decent. Took a couple bad shots towards the end. Came down to me and a couple buddies. Decided to turn it up a little bit.
Well, congratulations for your first place victory here tonight. We look forward to seeing you back at the next one.
Yep, thank you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it here tonight for your Old Iron Caddy Showdown. Excuse me. It was a great show throughout the night. We had a lot of action nonstop throughout all the heats, the consi and the feature. We'd like to thank all of our drivers for coming out, putting on a show for everybody at home. And we'll see everybody back here at Tri-State Race Media for the next one. Thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe on all the socials, and we'll catch you later.